Look in the mirror. Who do you see? Most men see a critic. The critic points out every flaw. You're not enough. You're behind. You'll never get there. The critic keeps a record of every failure, every mistake, every wound, and it throws them back at you when you dare to rise. But there is another voice in that mirror. The coach. And the coach does not mock. The coach does not belittle. The coach calls you forward. Get up. Push harder. You are capable of more. Both voices live in the same head. Both voices are reflections of you. But the one you listen to becomes the one you become. Here's the truth. The critic is not evil. It was born to protect you. It remembers every time you failed, every time you were hurt, every time you were ashamed. And it whispers, don't try again. Don't risk. Don't push. Stay small. Stay safe. But safety is a prison. Comfort is decay. And if you let the critic steer, you will live a life of avoidance, not achievement. The critic's logic is simple. If you don't try, you can't fail. But it forgets the deeper truth. If you don't try, you can't live. The coach, on the other hand, is not naive. It sees the same failures, the same scars, the same wounds. But instead of saying, don't try, it says learn, rise, grow. The coach knows pain is teacher. The coach knows discipline is freedom. The coach knows you are stronger than you think. And when you listen to the coach, something shifts. Your posture rises. Your energy sharpens. Your actions align with possibility instead of fear. The war between the critic and coach is not outside. It is inside. And the mirror you face every morning reflects which one is winning. If you hear, I can't, you're listening to the critic. If you hear, I must, you're listening to the coach. Simple rule. Whichever voice you feed grows. Feed the critic, and your life collapses into excuses. Feed the coach, and your life expands into achievement. Now here's the catch. Most men think the critic is the truth and the coach is wishful thinking. But it's the other way around. The critic is not right. The critic is trauma replayed, weakness amplified, fear dressed up as wisdom. The critic uses fragments of truth to build a cage of limitation. The coach, though, it speaks truth. The truth that you are capable of more. The truth that discipline compounds. The truth that failure is feedback, not finality. The truth that your best self is waiting on the other side of the excuses you keep defending. The critic is noise. The coach is signal. But here's the deeper law. Both the critic and the coach are you. They are not angels and demons fighting for your soul. They are mirrors of your own awareness. The critic is you at your smallest. The coach is you at your highest. The choice is yours. Which reflection will you empower? Let me break it down. The critic says, you failed. The coach says, you learned. The critic says, you're not ready. The coach says, start now. Readiness will follow. The critic says, you can't. The coach says, watch me. The critic says, stay safe. The coach says, risk is the path to reward. Two mirrors, same face, different futures. Think of it like training. The critic says, it's too heavy, drop it. The coach says, one more rep, you've got this. If you listen to the critic, you will quit. If you listen to the coach, you will grow. And the repetition compounds. Day after day, choice after choice, voice after voice, until your entire life is shaped by the reflection you choose in the mirror. Here's the practice. Next time you catch the critic whispering, pause. Don't run. Don't numb. Don't obey. Ask yourself, is this truth or is this fear? 9 times out of 10, it's fear. And in that pause, you create the space for the coach to speak. The coach is quieter. It doesn't scream. It doesn't panic. It simply reminds you of who you are. But to hear it, you must silence the critic long enough to listen. Understand this. The critic will never disappear. It will always be there, waiting to point out weakness, waiting to magnify doubt. But you don't have to let it rule. You can thank it for its concern and then choose the coach instead. Sovereignty is not killing the critic. Sovereignty is refusing to let it drive. Because the mirror is always waiting. Every morning, every night. And what you see staring back is not the reflection of your face, but of your focus. Do you see failure or do you see potential? Do you see excuses or do you see accountability? Do you see the critic or do you see the coach? The choice is yours. So here's the challenge. The next week, every time you hear the critic, write it down. Capture its words. Then rewrite them as the coach would speak. you'll notice something. The critic's voice is repetitive, predictable, boring. The coach's voice is alive, creative, expansive. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes to shift mirrors. At the end of the day, you are both the critic and the coach. You are both the prison and the key. You are both the lie and the truth. The sovereign man knows this. He chooses his reflection with discipline. He chooses the coach. He chooses expansion. He chooses to live aligned with his highest self, not chained to his lowest. So tomorrow morning, when you look in the mirror, ask yourself, who am I going to listen to today? The critic who wants me safe, small and silent? Or the coach who wants me strong, sovereign and free? Because both voices are waiting, and whichever one you feed will become the life you live.